You're listening to the Womanpreneur Podcast. Empowerment in business and life. Hi, welcome to the Womanpreneur Podcast. This is Amanda McEwen, and my name is Melissa Moats, and we are super happy that you tuned in to hang out with us today.
Welcome. I'm just going to have all one-word answers this time. I'm going to put it all on you.
I have a random question for you.
Okay, can't wait.
What do you have too many of at your house?
Oh no. See, I am not a hoarder.
There's got to be one thing that you buy extras of, that you have backups of, that you have a lot of, you'll never run out of, you need to make sure you have plenty of. What is that for you?
Norm, I guess I could say mouthwash, because I find the deals at Target. I like deals. And then a lot of times they'll have a buy three, get a $5 gift card.
I have noticed you have very nice breath all the time.
Thank you.
Mean, whenever I've never been offended by your hellos.
Hellos. Well, I am a big fan of oral hygiene, but in the grand scheme of things, I am not a hoarder. You know, it's funny. There's this whole movement going on with Marie Kondo, and is that the right name?
Marie Kondo.
Finding joy and decluttering.
Sparking. If it doesn't spark joy, you need to pass it on so someone else can have some joy with it.
And I've been doing this for years, and people have accused me of not being sentimental because I don't keep enough stuff. But when you move a lot, which I haven't for a while, but I did when I was younger, moving is terrible.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured out that if something lives in a box, at that time it was from one move to another, I don't need it. Now
that's good.
It's a year. If it's in a box or I haven't touched it for a year,
that's good advice.
It goes away.
That's really good.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But
I just wanted to, I felt like then maybe you would ask me what I have a lot of.
You're fishing. See,
it was a leading question.
I don't do well with hints. And
you ready?
No, I have to ask the question now.
Okay.
Because our audience is going to be like, man, Amanda, you just don't even ask her. So Melissa, I have a random question for you.
Sure.
What's something that you have too much of?
I thought you'd never ask. Lipstick.
I was going to say, your lips are very shiny today.
Thank you. This is my my new lip plumping gloss.
Lip plumping gloss.
Lip plumping gloss that I put on top of my super cute pink lipstick.
Oh, okay.
For our listeners, you might need to, tune into the video to see it. But anyway, I was just kind of looking today at my lipstick collection, and I was thinking to myself, you have a lot of beautiful colors here in this drawer, and I think you need to be feeling extra pink today. So I brought my extra pink lipstick, and I was glad you noticed. Yeah. So that's why that sparked that for me.
It's terrible. I don't notice things a lot of the time.
But she did notice my lipstick.
I did. But especially with the girly things. I remember working with a woman once, and she used to paint her nails every week, and she would put like a different flower on one of the fingernails from week to week. And when I first started working there, she was so excited to have another woman in the office, and because she wanted to talk about her nails and the things. And I just looked at her, I'm like, I am so sorry, I'm going to disappoint you because I don't do my nails. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I will make an effort to notice the flower, but I'm sorry. But see, once you bring it up, I don't.
But when somebody brings it up, then you know to go ahead and look for that extra new flower. That's so funny. Well, I know that none of that had anything to do with our episode today.
But it kind of does.
Really?
I always try to find ways, because I know when you tune into a podcast and they start the whole episode by blabbering about something that's totally unrelated, it can get annoying, and we don't want to annoy you. But we're talking about appearance, and I think that does come into place what we're actually talking about.
So today's theme we thought would be business. It is a casual yet still professional world. And I think is that a great title?
I like it. Why don't you let us know, viewers and listeners, if you like it?
Well, we hope you like it. But we were talking, Amanda and I, obviously brainstorm and chat behind the scenes and try to think about different themes and topics to touch on in, our podcast. And we were just kind of talking about how, yes, being a freelancer, being a business owner, especially in the creative side of the world, photographers, artists, musicians, voice actors. I mean, you have worked with so many different creatives that I know that this theme really, rang true for you. There's a difference between being casual in the way that you conduct business and maybe dress, how your appearance is, etc. But then when you want to be taken seriously as a business owner and someone being hired for services, etc., you still want to be professional. And you can walk a fine line, I think, between being casual and being professional. So what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's changed so much. I mean, even in my working career, which has been about 20-ish years, the world has changed. And I saw what happened when sort of the generation below me, not below in stature,
Behind.
but below as in younger,
Yeah.
came in. I feel like the millennials get a bad rap a lot of the time. And I understand there's a lot that can be misconstrued about, entitlement and different behaviors. And there's a certain aspect of being spoiled. I don't know that that's my place to decide. What I do know is that there are some things that have happened with that generation that I can support 100%.
Heck yeah.
Because,
They've helped us.
Right. They have sort of stepped up and said, we're going to take control of our environment. It's the flexible work schedule in that the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 5 schedule is based on ancient traditions. It's not really the most productive schedule for most people. And in most situations, most working in businesses, we work on deadlines. There are certain things that have to be done by a certain time. But as long as you accomplish those tasks by the time you're supposed to, it shouldn't matter if that's done between 9 and 5. Maybe you can sit down and do it between 9 and 12, and that's fine. But a lot of people want that time, they want that work-life balance. They want to get their jobs done and do them well, but they also want to spend time with their families, and they want to go do the things that are important. And they've sort of and I'm part of this too, I feel with it, we've sort of stepped up and said, we are still going to do a great job for you. But things are different now. Mm-hmm. Technology has made it so that we can work from everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite things is that my overhead is so low. It's my laptop and some software.
Internet
and I can
connection.
Work from anywhere that I have an internet connection.
0 pants.
Well, maybe some form of pants, but just a maybe more comfortable fabric.
Not real pants, though.
Right, not real pants. Never real pants.
Not slacks. Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
Slacks.
What do you think about that word?
My Pilates instructor hates the word slacks. So Tina, if you end up listening to this, I didn't tell her to say slacks, but she's going to keep saying it now.
I also think the word slacks is very funny. I just, whenever anyone says slacks, I'm like, that's just funny to me.
And well, that's the other thing. I mean, we're choosing comfort now.
Yeah.
Because we're more productive when we're comfortable.
Yes.
And I mean, I have a lot of different things that are my favorite thing about being self-employed. A lot of them fall under comfort. I get to control the temperature. Every office that I've ever worked in has been freezing.
Man, imagine how awesome we can be when we're comfortable.
I know.
Temperature-wise.
In Vegas in the summer, sometimes people get a little cheap with the AC.
Yep.
And then it's too hot and people get cranky, and that's no fun either.
Yep.
I love having that control over my environment, being able to eat food when I want to eat food and take breaks and all of that. But it's allowed me, when I had the realization, I mean, I always knew that I would work better from home. I'm a self-motivated type. It just made more sense.
Yep.
When I was sort of figuring out what was next for me and I was ready to leave my job, I didn't want to be there anymore, but I'm also very methodical and I had to figure out the right way to do it. And there was sort of a situation that happened, and I had tried to quit, or at least put the thought in people's head, like, I'm really not happy here. Can we make any changes, or is it time for me to go? And then I would be made a promise, and then it wouldn't happen. And that happened a few times, and I got fed up, and I just thought, okay, well, if you need me here so badly, because they would sort of say, no, we need you here, we want you here. Okay. So I made a decision and I went totally Office Space, another 90s movie reference. If you haven't seen it, please watch Office Space. It's one of my favorite comedies. I know it's based in the 90s, but I can make it a little current because the guy who created it also created Silicon Valley, which is a great show on HBO right now.
Yes.
Current, I do have a current reference. Anyhow, I decided I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
And I did not go to my office for the majority of 4 months. I got a VPN on my computer, my office computer, so I could access it from home. And I went to the office on Mondays for 4 hours so I could physically sign the things I had to approve and do that. And it wasn't necessarily me trying to be defiant or rebellious. I was just done. And I figured that, if you want me this badly, it's going to be on my terms.
I just want to acknowledge the rebel in you.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit rebellious.
She can be a little rebellious, Sometimes she's underestimated because she's sweet and pretty and just a nice person. But, you had made your decision that you were, on your way out. And so you started to kind of define your boundaries and what you wanted to do. But you wanted to be comfortable, and
it was true. And in that time, I figured out my 40 or 50 hour a week job really only took about 3 hours a day. The rest of the time was filled with the chit chat, with basically playing psychologist to all the coworkers. It was just filled with a lot of nonsense. It was unproductive time,
right?
And it was wasteful. And that is actually how my new business model came to be. It was like, wait a minute. So when I came in there and the place was a mess, I had a lot of work to do. I had to fix it. I got it into a place to where all the systems were there and everything operated smoothly, and it was great. But I also realized, man, they don't actually need me here anymore, because I've set it up. They could bring somebody in, save themselves some money, get somebody else to just now maintain the systems that I already set up. And then I thought, well, man, if it's only a couple hours, how many businesses could I help? People who don't need maybe a full-time person, but they need a little bit of help. And that is sort of when the light bulb clicked. But a lot of that too was talking with other people, especially business owners and other employees who on the employee side they were also fed up because they were forced to be in this office where they weren't comfortable for the majority of their week. Yeah. And they knew that if they could have some quiet time and work on their own, they could cut that work significantly. And then there was sort of the business owners, more of the, I don't even want to say older, but there's sort of an older mindset of, no, I need my employees to be there Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. I need to keep an eye on them because you can't trust people to work on their own.
Yeah.
And I heard this from a number of business owners who were good people. I like them. And I told them my concern is that you're going to lose your most valuable employees because people are taking power.
Yep.
And especially the younger ones, they're saying, because it used to be the person giving the job was sort of the one with the power. They were saying, I'm giving you money, so you will do things my way. And that's just how it worked. Now people have figured out, wait a minute, I'm the one with the talent. I'm the one providing the service. I'm the one doing the work to keep your business going. What's in it for me? And that might sound selfish to some people, but to me, it's really smart because it's evened the playing field in a sense that you can stand up for what you want. And technology, because it's made it so you can work anywhere, there's a value for you, and somebody in another state, in another country might be able to offer you what you want.
Yeah.
You got to ask for it.
I think I totally agree with where you're going on that. I also think that there's still, boundaries and, when you are employed by someone, I think it's having a good relationship and it's having a meeting of the minds and it's good communication. I'm not saying that you're saying be demanding and say how you want to be. I know you're not saying that, but I mean, it's one of those things though, you do, if you are working for somebody else, you do want to be comfortable and happy and productive and do your best and communicate the things that work well for you. And hopefully have a really open, positive rapport with the people who you're working with. And I know it's not always the case, but some things that I was thinking might be, some some food for thought is one thing voice actors ask me all the time is, so if I get hired to do a job and I have to go into a studio to do a voiceover gig, like, how should I dress? And it's so funny because so many of us creatives and work from home that we kind of almost forget like what is acceptable.
We don't know how we're supposed to present ourselves in public anymore.
Do I brush my hair? I mean, so it's so funny. But I mean, the people who are living in the corporate world, I mean, I think have a clearer understanding of those boundaries and expectations. And
I know. I'm sorry. If you're listening, I'm making a face, and it's because
high heels and
that. I'm all about comfort. I don't wear heels. I know as a girl I'm supposed to, or that's what people say. Fortunately, I'm tall enough that I'm not worried about trying to present like I'm taller.
Right.
I choose comfort. I choose comfort every time.
But I like heels personally if they're cute and they're sparkly.
I'm not judging heels.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying they're not comfortable.
Right.
But I always just go, well, how cute are they? Like, are they cute? Are they that cute that if I hurt, it's worth it? I don't know. Sometimes I make that decision. But I will say, well, my advice to voice actors and other creatives in general would be, you want to make a great first impression or a great impression in general. And I mean, I would start off with the hygiene aspect where, maybe
hygiene. For some reason I heard hygiene and I thought you were going into like, wear some mom jeans. And I thought, where are you going with this?
No.
Hygiene, not hygiene. Okay.
Like going back to your mouthwash earlier today, maybe stock up when there's a good sale at Target.
I told you it was relevant to our topic.
Right? Totally relevant. But pick a great lipstick color. But I mean, it's crazy to actually have to say this, but take a shower and put on some clean clothes.
Anytime you're going to be around other people, shower. I mean, I can't not shower in a day. I mean, it's part of it, but it's part of my routine. I mean, I wake up with
for
that.
Sure.
But nobody wants to smell badly.
No, you want to look nice, you want to smell nice, and you want to just be nice. Those are the nice check all those boxes.
I'm fortunate. I feel fortunate because I care about comfort.
Yeah.
Because the production industry that most of my career has been in, it's very casual, and I'm glad because I don't just wearing like the skirts and the dresses and the suit jackets. I'm not comfortable in that stuff.
Collared shirts.
I just always feel like I'm suffocating in that stuff.
Me too.
But
and it doesn't also lend itself to express your personality and who you are too when you kind of feel like stifled and stuff. But I would say. In our industry, in our creative industry, you can be casual, but I would say if you're looking at all your jeans, maybe wear the ones that have the least holes in them, or your least holy pair. And if you're going to wear a t-shirt, wear a nice one. Look clean and presentable and put together. I think your statement should be, I care.
Right.
I put a little effort in. But it doesn't mean you have to dress in clothing you wouldn't normally wear. Right. But I think it's just being mindful of, I'm about to go in and represent my brand. My brand is me. I'm a voice actor. Just saying.
She's wearing a Got Voice shirt from the Voice Actor Studio.
Got Voice. I was really excited about these when we made them.
Nice.
But my thing is, I've gone in to do voiceover sessions at ad agencies, and I've met clients of mine wearing sometimes a really cute dress and heels, and I've dressed up a little bit more. Other times I've just been wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but it's more about the way that I carry myself, and I do put effort into my overall appearance. But I think the main theme is I care, and the theme is you carry yourself in a professional manner. It's
right.
like, these are people who are hiring you for a service and you're going to build a relationship with. So keep that in mind. Yeah. And you can be casual and you can be yourself, but being professional what does being professional mean? What does that mean to you? For me, being professional is remembering that I'm there to serve them, and remembering that someone is writing me a check for what I'm about to do for them, and they think that I'm a great fit for their project, and I want to be remembered for the right reasons. And I want people to call me back and say, man, she was really easy to work with. She was really seemed to be attentive and care about our project, and she asked questions. And I'm really big into mirroring a situation that I'm in. So when I go into a live recording session, if I see that there's a room full of people and they're all business, and sometimes they're very corporate and they want to just get right down to business, no small talk, none of that stuff, I'm going to assess that situation and I'm going to mirror that situation. I'm going to basically be the same way. But if I walk into a recording session and somebody's got an acoustic guitar and they're singing and they're talking about, who got kicked off of American Idol or Survivor last night, I might want to know who it was, or throw in a thought about that, or chit chat, or get involved and just be fun and casual with them, or get to know them, ask them questions about themselves. That's a really good way to, I think, roll. So assess the situation. To me, that's another part of being professional is understanding the cues, the cues of the people who are hiring you. I don't care if you're a voice actor or a musician or a photographer or, a graphic designer, or I'm thinking of other, just random creatives, but writer, what else you got?
That's enough.
Those are some good examples. Whatever kind of meeting you're going into, or whatever kind of session you're going into, pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We talked about reading the room in a different episode, and I think that really plays a big role in all of this, and knowing what professional is, because we know logically that your ability, in your case, to record voiceover is not affected by the clothing, unless you're wearing some dangly jewelry that's going to make sounds on the mic, then it might affect you. But for the most part, and I run into this a lot, because what I offer are business services, and there's a disconnect sometimes because people are like, well, but business people are corporate, and business people wear pantsuits, and I can't even say pantsuits.
They wear slacks.
They wear slacks.
And blouses.
Oh, blouses is even worse. And I can't wear nylons.
A blouse slack combo.
Oh, just
with high heel pointy toe shoes.
Oh no,
that is your worst nightmare.
That pretty much is.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
and a flower on your nails.
Right. But it's understanding how the world is different. Because I work with creatives. Yeah. Creatives are my clients. Those are the people, I need them to feel comfortable with me. We've talked about that before, but it's a big thing. And that even when I worked in an office, if I showed up in a dress, and I'm not anti-dress at all. I mean, especially living in Vegas,
look cute in dresses.
In the summer, a dress is much easier than pants because it's 110 outside. Ugh, clothing in general is icky.
Hashtag icky.
But if I showed up to that office in a dress, because I worked with all men and it was a very casual environment, I would have been out of place, and it would have made other people uncomfortable. Because, to have one person who's overly dressed in a casual situation, or somebody who's underdressed in a formal situation, I've been the latter. That is something, and I'm actually quite comfortable with it, because I choose comfort and I own it, and it's fine. But you have to know, and I'm going to segue, because Vegas is such a weird city. It's very transient, and there are people, it's very tourism
It is
heavy.
kind of like an anything goes.
And I always say, at any event, no matter how formal, I mean, you could be at a show at the Smith Center, which is sort of like our Broadway here with all the fancy shows. But even at the Smith Center, you will find one guy in a Hawaiian t-shirt and flip-flops and jean shorts or some sort of shorts. And you will find one woman decked out in glitter and the full-on ball gown. And everything in between. There's no really set rule anymore.
Yep.
Some people like that and some people hate it.
But did the guy that threw on his, his flip-flops and his tropical shirt, did he do it with the attitude that he cared?
Right.
Did he put on his nicest tropical shirt and his cleanest flip-flops? And did he comb his hair and brush his teeth? I bet you he did, because he was going to go out on the town.
And that's the thing when you were talking about all of that. It's, I am I would say if I have any sort of style, it's casual style. Like when it comes to clothes, I am a jeans and t-shirt girl. It's what I have. It's what I'm comfortable in. Yep. However, when I'm working, I'm going to wear a t-shirt, but it's going to be plain. It's not, plain in color. Like I have a lot of concert shirts. I don't wear those in professional settings. Usually, it's my outfit, if you can even call it that, will be color coordinated. No holes.
Very
no
minty breath.
Definitely gonna use mouthwash before I go out. But there is at least the semblance that maybe I don't care as much as most, but I do care a little bit. And like when I'm at home or when I'm just running to the grocery store, I don't wear makeup. I don't care. That's always when I run into somebody, of course, is when
that's how it goes.
Every time when I decide I'm just going to sneak out and run this quick errand, and that's when I run into. And the last time I ran into a makeup artist friend of mine, and I was just thinking, what is she thinking right now? She didn't comment on it. And I think it was okay, but
you're beautiful without makeup.
Thank you. But if I go out to meet with a client every time, and it's funny. Some clients, it depends on how long we've been working together. But there's sort of an understanding, especially with other female business owners. We get each other. We understand. So, my friend Jody, who's a producer who I love, and, we try to get together fairly often, and, we work together however we can. But there's just always sort of the understanding, like some days I may put on pants for you. Some days I might put on makeup, sometimes not. And
just depends on the kind of day you're having.
That's how several times before you and I started working together, I remember in our little Starbucks coffee dates, I would get the text, Amanda McEwen, I'm not wearing makeup today. And I said, Melissa Moats, I'm going to Pilates straight after I meet you, so that's how I'm going to look.
Yeah, we were fine with it. Well, one thing I want to touch on too regarding casual versus professional, is communication style. And, I know that a lot of times we're doing business with people via text, email, phone, conversation, Skype, and also through social media. I think that, it's worth bringing up. For me personally, and this is just my opinion, I'm sure that there are many people who would disagree with this, but I think you have to really know who you're talking to, as far as if you're writing someone an email and you're throwing a ton of acronyms in, every other sentence is you're speaking in acronym, and maybe the person who you're working with is an older person or doesn't really understand or speak in acronym. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because you mentioned this in our communication episode, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
it bugs me.
Right.
Because I'm an old person that doesn't always know what an acronym is. I'm like, what in the hell are they talking about?
And I remember, I sent you an email recently. We're talking about the podcast, and I said, those are great for BTS photos. And I got your email back and I said, what is BTS? And I was like, oh, it's behind the scenes. And then later, when I was QCing one of the episodes, and it was that one, I had forgotten that you said that, and you talked about the acronyms, and I'm like, oh, I just did that thing that she hates.
You just BTS'd me.
Mm-hmm. But
and I was like,
you just called yourself old for doing that. So.
Well, I'm
that's
old.
Why I was laughing.
I'm old-ish.
Oldish.
My eye cream is definitely hanging in there. And what can I say? But I do think not being so quick in your writing that everything is so abbreviated. I think being, thorough but not too lengthy is important. Mm-hmm. I think getting to the point is important. And just knowing the person that you're speaking to is huge. And and how you engage that person. So some people do appreciate a little bit more of a corporate formal response in the way that they're writing. So again, we talk about reading the room. Also read the cues in the way that someone is writing to you and the way someone's speaking to you. Be yourself. I mean, always be yourself. But again, it's that casual versus professional. If you are a business and you are a brand, you want to make a good impression. You want to make sure you're spelling words correctly. You want to make sure that you're using at least remotely solid punctuation, you could be, I put in a lot of extra commas because I write the way that I read as a voice actor. So, or a lot of ellipses, and that's my thing. I'm into, I really liked it.
I take some of them out when I'm sending out your e-blasts because,
it's just the way that I am.
And it's great. And you triggered 3 things for me here.
Go. Take it away,
1,
lady.
My mom found this mug for me that I love. I have tea out of. And on it, there's a picture of an aardvark. And it says, always be yourself. Unless you can be an aardvark, then be an aardvark. So that's when you were saying that and why I was laughing. It was because of that. 2 had to do with grammar. I'm a little bit of the grammar police, but not in the way. If you misspell the word your and your, I will not point it out. That is not my place.
I was thinking there, and there.
I will not be that person with the passive aggressive asterisk with the correct spelling. It's not that important. I probably won't like that post, just out of principle. However, it's not my place to correct unless you're asking me, and unless I really think it's going to help you. I won't be that person.
Me either.
I do acknowledge it. I mean, I see it. I'm like, they used the wrong, but it's okay.
Yep.
It happens. I'm not going to judge you for it. But when you're presenting yourself, why are you laughing at me?
Go ahead. I'm just taking this all in,
because
Amanda.
You love me. You're happy to hear me.
I love to hear you. I love to hear what you have to say. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm sure you've saved some of my grammar in the past.
And it's not that it's bad. And that's the thing. You, as a creative, I mean, you do write the way you speak. Yeah. My friend Dave, who I made the documentary with, is like that too. He says the exact same thing. I write like I talk. Big fan of the run-on sentences, no commas, woof,
Yeah.
So, but he like understood, like when we're presenting communication in written form, he'll send stuff to me, I edit it, I send it back.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with how he's writing it or how you're writing with it, because that is who you are.
Yep.
However, you have to think about the end user, and if the end user is somebody who is more corporate or more business, they will judge you for that. I mean, going back to just if you're just getting started or you're looking for a new job or a new client, if you use a resume or if you use LinkedIn, whatever way it is, if there are grammatical errors on that, you might get discredited immediately for something that silly. And the psychology behind it is that is the piece of paper that is supposed to represent who you are and what you have to offer. It's a little different in the digital world now, where it's much more visual and all of that. However, and that kind of segues into point number 3, which was use your brain. I always feel like I'm the one giving sort of the tough love advice. And but it comes from a good place. If your company is going all out and throwing a nice holiday party, you can have a drink, but don't have 12. Don't be that guy that's on the table dancing. Don't be the girl that lets out a huge secret about your boss. Understand that just because you're now in a more casual environment, it's still professional. Like your actions could still have an impact. And the number of stories that I've heard from business owners, from employees, from people who have forgotten to be professional in a situation like that, decided to indulge, and the repercussions. I mean, sometimes people have lost their jobs.
They've gotten fired.
It's just, that's where, just think about it. Even if you're friendly with your coworkers, you kind of have to keep that in mind. In that, I mean, you just have to know what's at stake. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the situation is appropriate and sometimes it's not. And that line can be, a lot of us are friends with the people whom we work with. Mm-hmm. It's just how it happens. Some were friends first, some we became friends with. there's a lot of that sort of familiarity, and that's what gets people into trouble. It's that, oh, it's just, I could use you. Oh, it's just Melissa. She won't care. But maybe not safe to make that assumption. She cares.
I care. I'm after you. Yeah, like when you come to my parties and you act like a complete professional.
Right.
I appreciate it. Look, they were wondering where I was going.
I know. But
did
what
you
happens,
did you like my dot,
trauma?
dot, dot?
I did. But what's funny is I get hit with the opposite, and people get upset that I'm not drinking, that I'm not, and it's just who I am. At some point, maybe people will start to accept that, and it's fine.
I think you're a lot of fun.
And it's not about being professional in that case. That's just who I am.
You can have fun and not have to drink and party your booty off. You party a different way, girlfriend.
There you go.
But it's one of those things. I think assess, are you being too casual? Are you, are you in tune with being a professional? Are you carrying yourself in a way when you're engaging with people who are hiring you that they're going to think you're trustworthy and that you have follow through? I think your track record says most everything, but if it's a brand new relationship, it's about that first impression. So those are some really big things to kind of think about and look at. Or maybe you've made a few mistakes along the way and you've been like, oh man, I really learned from that, never doing that again. Or someone who's made some mistakes along the way and you go, oh my goodness, I'm glad that wasn't me. And, or maybe we've said something today that, you struck a chord with you. But I think at the end of the day, it is, you want to be true to yourself. You want to honor your personal brand. You want to be creative and fun and let your freak flag fly. That's what John McClane always says. That's hard to say, freak flag fly. Do it. Yeah. But you also want to make sure you're not doing it at a cost of where people are thinking, oh man, I don't know if I want to work with this person. And punctuality never goes out of style. Being a good communicator, being appreciative. Sorry, I was 10 minutes late today.
I wasn't laughing for that reason. but yet, since you mentioned it,
but
super unprofessional.
Right. So unprofessional.
However, if you are going to be late because things happen, send a little message. I'm not saying text and drive, but most of us have some sort of auto function. Or if you get in the car and you already know you're going to be late, just send a quick note and say, I'm going to be a little bit late. It's fine.
And you don't always have to make it a novel. I think when you make it a novel, it's worse.
Right.
I think as a business owner here at the Voice Actor Studio, for me, if I have an engineer who's going to be late or someone who's helping me out with something and they're like, oh my gosh, I had this crazy emergency, and they give me a novel, I'm just like, oh, I just had to take 10 minutes to read your novel. And, I would prefer them to just say, hey, I'm on my way. I'm going to be a few minutes late.
Yeah.
Great.
Succinct.
I don't need an explanation. Yeah. I just want you to get here safely. But, so that's a thought.
Yeah. And I think we have to talk about social media when it comes to being professional.
Yeah, we do.
Because here's the thing, is your social media pages are yours to do whatever you want. You can do and say and post whatever you want. But I encourage you to remember, and this is whether you're looking for a job, whether you're looking for a client, it doesn't matter if you're self-employed or work for somebody else. People pay attention. They look you, and we know about lurkers and people who, there are people who are seeing your post and you don't know that they're seeing it. And back when I worked for a company, first thing I would do before hiring somebody else, I checked the resume or whatever they sent in. This was, a few years ago when there were still resumes. And, but it was social media, Facebook especially. I think Instagram was still a little bit new. I looked to find whatever I could online about those people. And if I saw there's a bunch of partying or there are a bunch of complaining, for me, complaining is a big one. And
probably bigger than anything is just people who get really angry and get really aggressive and confrontational. That to me is like a huge red flag for working with someone.
As an employer, that was huge, because I need to know that you're going to be calm and even in my current situation of being self-employed, we've talked about how important the solution mindset is and working with people whose vibes are similar. And that if somebody's complaining all the time, I think about how are you going to be to work with? You're just going to complain, but then it's going to be directed at me or about the work, or it sends a red flag to me that this person's going to be trouble. There's going to be drama, and we don't want drama. And again, it's you're allowed to do that, and I don't want to tell anybody.
Be yourself, do your thing, but just be mindful that it kind of goes back to when you were a kid, right? And it's like Friday night, and you're getting ready to go out with your friends, and a good rule of thumb, this is the way I rolled, was would I make the decision to do X, Y, Z if my parents were standing right here? You know, would I say this? Would I do this? Would I make this decision? You know, would I kiss this boy? And I'm just kidding.
She's not kidding about that.
For me, I wasn't really like too naughty of a kid. Like I wasn't a big party girl. I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't into any of that stuff. I was a pretty good rule follower, I would say. I was a pretty darn good kid. But honestly, if I was ever like in that rule of thumb, or wanting to follow a rule of thumb rather, I would just kind of go, if my mom and dad were here, I probably wouldn't say that, or probably wouldn't do that. So that helped me. So I think in this world with professionalism, I think maybe the rule of thumb would be think of your dream job or a dream project you want to land, or something that's super important to you. And if you were in an interview situation where someone was going to decide whether or not they wanted to move forward with you or choose you as the candidate or use your creative services, and you know, you're about to post something or say something, let a little like cartoon bubble pop up in your mind and picture yourself in that interview or that situation and go, if they read this post that I'm about to make, would this possibly jeopardize, you know, the opportunity that I would love to have someday in the future, right? Even if it's far away from now, people dig, they go back, they dig. So I would just suggest maybe use that as like a little, you know, your little on your shoulder.
It's why some people have separate business profiles and personal ones, which I think is smart. I don't have that myself, but you know, I understand, because there's one page then you can share with your, you know, work people. And then there's one, and it's usually under a pseudonym that's the real personal one, which I'm all for that. To me, that's smart, because if you have that sort of fun party side or whatever it is that you want to share, and you're more interested in looking how fun I am than I'm trying to make business contacts, cool. I want to see how much fun you have too. But thinking about... but remember who's friends with you on that social media. I actually had to fire a girl because she had added me on Facebook, and then one day she called in. Actually, she didn't even call in sick. Her friend called and left a message on our company voicemail in the middle of the night. It's like 3 a.m. and said so-and-so is, you know, she's really
deathly
sick.
Ill.
I'm not sure, you know, she's not going to make it. I looked at her Facebook page. She was out celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Partied pretty hard. That's why she was sick. Had to, you know, I mean, it wasn't the only reason, you know,
that she was let go.
But I noticed it, and I thought, why would you add your boss on Facebook, and then at least not? To me, it didn't make sense.
Another thought just popped into my head too is, you know, each social media, I'm no social media expert. I mean, I would love to hear from a social media expert on this next thing I'm about to touch on. But one of the things that I've been advised on too is really knowing when and where on which types of social media. So in other words, like LinkedIn, for example, super professional business territory, and the way you conduct yourself on that type of social media versus maybe stuff you would share on Instagram or you know, Facebook or whatever, or Twitter. I don't really have you know, super specific advice on this. I'm not at all an expert, but I do definitely know that when I'm approaching social media, something that I might share and talk about on the platform like Facebook would be very different than how I would share on LinkedIn, just because of the way that I'm engaging different audiences. So I think that's something worth mentioning. in my, very limited, knowledge on social media,
Yeah.
I'm a humble student of the
It's a
business
lot.
world. Do you
Social
ever
media is
feel
a lot.
tired, Amanda McEwen?
Do I feel tired?
I feel sleepy. Sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like there's just so much going on and things change so
You
fast.
just get comfortable with you just got
Yeah.
comfortable with Facebook and now everybody's on Instagram.
And
They
now
get comfortable with
everybody's,
Instagram and they're on something
yes.
else. And
Even like hashtagging's not even that
right.
cool anymore.
Yeah,
It's like, I like to
it's
say
tough.
hashtag blah, blah, blah. I remember the first time I was like, what's a hashtag? What does that mean? What's a
Yeah.
blog? I remember even
Right.
being like, what does that mean?
Oh, and then
That
there's
was
a
a long
vlog
time
too.
ago. Oh, what's a vlog?
Yeah. But
Ooh.
it's,
Yeah.
and social media is tricky because even when you're a business owner, whatever you are, you have to show both. It's the struggle with somebody who also is not great with social media and I'm trying to get better. But it's that thing where, I offer business services. So I'm very aware of providing content that I feel is relevant to business owners
Yeah.
and other individuals who want to start businesses and maybe need my help. However, we're in this time where personal brand is a thing and people care who you are as much as, if not more, than what you do. And that's where it gets tricky. And I had somebody say to me the other day, well, your company is called Art of Art Girl, but we don't know who the girl is. I thought, because I'm not really I don't take selfies. I don't really know how to. I don't like them. There's just a lot. I don't feel like people want to look at me. I think, they want to know how I can help.
They do.
But
you're
it's-
really pretty. People would like
you.
to look at you.
But
I'm telling you, they would.
That's not in my comfort zone. And it's not, again, not a matter of being self-conscious. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just
It's
don't
not
think
something
about
that you
pointing
think
picture at me.
you think about it through your point of view, your perspective, right? But it's hard to see it from other people's perspectives. And I mean, I think when you're a business owner, every day is a learning experience. I feel like I learn multiple things every single day, and I'm a humble student of my craft as a voice actor, and I'm a humble student of life and, running businesses. I think for me personally, if I were to share a piece of advice or a tip that I have found to be very helpful for me in my journey of building a brand as a voice actor and building a brand, the Voice Actor Studio, and now people getting to know us as the Womanpreneur Podcast too, I would say just really let things organically evolve and take shape. I think that sometimes we try too hard I've seen people try really hard to make an entire plan of a month's worth of posting and, do all these different things a certain way that feels so regimented and strategized and, what's the word I'm looking for? Just pre-planned and canned and stuff. It's never worked for me. And I've really tried to just trust my heart, trust my gut. And every day I put energy toward my businesses. I put energy toward serving others and really genuinely wanting to help them. But I take it a day at a time. Of course I have some planning involved and I want to be organized and I want to be, prepared and offer great, services, and I want to be there for people, but I have to roll with the punches each day. And I feel like organically creating content for me as things are happening and just chipping away small. You can't expect for your business to just blow up overnight. It does happen for some people, and that's amazing. Sometimes a product or service or brand will go viral and everybody's just like, oh my gosh, and it's the next big thing. That's awesome. I'm so happy for people when that happens. But the truth is, I think just slow and steady wins the race, and just chip away at it. Love what you do, put energy into it every day. And then all of a sudden it's like the rear view mirror thing, you look back, you look in the rear view mirror and you go, holy cow, look at how far I've come. Look at what I've built. Look at this business that I've created because I've had a daily, it's the compounding effect. Again,
Yeah.
it's that daily accumulative, outcome. So anyway, that's just something that's important to me. And I just try to every day take it a day at a time and just do my best. And I put a lot of effort and energy into what I do and what I love, but we only have so much energy that we can put out in a day. Just put good stuff out there.
Yeah. And that's being professional.
Yeah.
I think for me, what it boils down to is respect. Respect for yourself, respect for other
Big
people.
one.
I think that's the simplest way I can define what it means to be professional. Because it's not, it is more casual now. Business is casual. We don't have to wear
live
the
in
same
a
things. We
casual
don't have to,
time. Sorry,
no,
interrupt.
it's fine. And that's the big part of it. It's just being respectful. And again, respectful of yourself. And then, you don't have to get dressed to the nines. Do people even say dress to the nines anymore?
I like that.
I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
They wear their when
they're
they wear
wearing
their
their slacks.
slacks and their blouses, they dress to the nines.
It's like, even if you're wearing the jeans and the t-shirt, brush your hair, brush your teeth, use mouthwash, floss, please floss.
Funny.
Flossing is so important. But it is that. It's, don't wear the super holy stuff. I know there's stylish, holy jeans, holy not religious, holy.
The
holes.
subtext is when you say you care about yourself, that's putting out that you care about other people too.
Right. It's making the effort, again, just to look presentable in whatever way that fits in your personal style and reading the room and what's appropriate. I forgot what I just said. That's
It was
the tricky
awesome.
thing about
It was
podcasting. But it's also being
Caring.
respectful of other people. How you put yourself forth in your written communication and being professional. You're taking care to say, I'm going to spell words correctly. We have autocorrect. We have Google. There's no reason not to do this correctly. Is showing respect for other people's time, for their energy.
And people work with people they like.
Right.
That's another big one too. And that goes with the respect thing too. Language, that's another really big one too, I think.
Right.
Not everybody loves being around somebody that's dropping 1,000 F-bombs every other word. I don't really take much offense to the way people want to speak. It's funny, a lot of people, if they swear around me, they're like, I'm so sorry, Melissa. And I'm like, why? I don't know. I guess because I don't really swear a lot. And it's just because that's just not my thing. I don't know. I mean, I will occasionally, but for me, I'm more about, I don't know, I was raised to be more ladylike and that's just my family's old country, old school. They are, and they're that's just how they roll. So that's just kind of how I roll. But I think just, again, it goes with reading the room. Don't assume that everybody wants to hear, tons of F-bombs and swear words and to speak. So I don't know, just gutter talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? In my slacks and my blouse and my jazzy.
Let your client set the tone.
Yep.
I think that's
Follow their lead.
Easiest. I just remember, I know we should wrap things up, but and Brent's trying to get in the room.
Oh, is he?
He's waiting. No, he's waiting for us to be done.
Okay.
But I just see him. He keeps peering in. So
We have a
Brent, if
window
you're
over
watching
here,
this.
and sometimes people wave at us. Sometimes people try to get in. It's a lot of different stuff.
One of my clients, he had a big corporate client, huge corporate client that he'd worked with in one capacity, and that person hired him to do some video work. He doesn't really know how to do video work, so he called me and said, hey, do you want to do this? And it was great. I had just barely gotten, it was right after I left my old job, so it was great. And I remember, having these conversations with his client, and when we're on set, and again, he works mostly with high-end corporate executive types. And we got on set, and, he, at one point, he kind of pulled me aside. He's like, this is how your people dress on set? And he was really sort of upset. He was dressed a little bit nicer. And I just said, well, yeah, what do you mean? He's like, there's holes in the T-shirts, and then this, and then that. And he was just very concerned. And then I just said, I'm like, have you looked at your client? And he looks over and the client is wearing jean shorts and a Sublime t-shirt. And he was just sort of super casual. And because he even said, like, I love production days because it's the only time I get to not be corporate. And, so he understood the environment. These people are working 12, 15-hour days. They have to be comfortable. They're getting their jobs done. But it was just funny that, like, he was really nervous that his client was going to get upset because his frame of reference was in that corporate setting.
Absolutely.
And I just think that we all have to be mindful of how the world is changing. Try not to get caught up on how things used to be, because that's not how they are now. And it's not how they're going to be in
Tomorrow,
the near future.
We got to roll with the punches and keep up.
Yeah. So I think no matter how casual, still be professional, be respectful.
And care. Care about yourself and care about the people you serve. And at the end of the day, people will remember you for the right reasons. So I'm feeling pretty solid about today's episode. How you guys feeling?
Well, let us know. You can go to the Womanpreneur Podcast. All our social channels on there. Please send us messages. Leave us reviews. Let us know how we're doing.
Yeah.
Join our Facebook community group. That's where we like to keep the discussion going. We do want to hear from you. We want to know what you want to hear about, what you think about what we talk about.
One other thing I just want to throw in as we come to a close. We do have some really fun interviews coming up too. We're going to be bringing in some special guests to interview, and I'm looking forward to that too, to kind of surprise everybody of all the really cool people we know.
We know a lot of cool people.
We're fancy.
We are fancy, so keep tuning in.
This purple cow thinks we're fancy.
He does.
Even though we're not wearing slacks.
No slacks for us today.
Have a great day, wherever you are.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Womanpreneur Podcast. Until next time, you've got this.